In this episode, I stimulate the economies of Poland and Latvia. I remove new parts from old parts. I compare old parts to new parts and show many things out of focus. It's been a while. Ordering parts from the USA and Latvia tend to take a while to arrive. But now I've got everything to do. The suspension arms at the front and the rear. Replace all the brake discs and the brakes, sway bar bushes. It's time to get all this stuff on there. Well, because I'm replacing the brake rotors, it means I've got to take out these studs that I so carefully put in previously, so I guess I'll get onto that next. In order to access the bolt for this arm correctly, I'm going to have to take the under trays off, so there's a bit of work ahead of me before I can start taking these things off. Okay, with the front section of the under tray off and the center section just hanging, I can now access the back of that bolt, but also the bolts for the sway bar. So that's about as far as I need to go to get started. I'm going to start by getting these calipers off and then the caliper bracket. Let's see if I can't get the disc off. We'll keep rolling from there. Okay. 12mm bolts, I was expecting them to be larger. Hold that up out of the way. This brake line's no good. Well, this one's okay-ish, but I don't trust it. There's not much left on that. She tight. Now it's time to look out when you're double spannering. Quicker. Put those bolts back where they came from so I don't lose track. I hope. Smells like Loctite. Doesn't look like it. Is this just going to magically slide off? We'll need a hammer. What is this? A pry bar trying to hold the disc steady. Look, it ain't dumb if it works. Now, hopefully that's nothing. Oh, look. Sit that in there for now. don't need to lose any fasteners today. I'm just going to show why I need to change the discs. This lip here is no good. Same on the back. It's not worth machining these. By the time you do that, thickness is all gone, and the cost of it, you may as well just buy new rotors, which is what I did. Speaking of which, I have to open these boxes because I don't even know if I've got the right parts yet, to be honest. I just hope that they're all here. I don't think this will be rotors. Okay, that would be, okay, that's the rear suspension arms. I'm going to guess this is the front. This will be the front, I think. Yep. Front suspension arms. Brake lines. Wear sensor. Based on these pads, I'm going to say these are the rear rotors. Hopefully they're the right ones. Which means these guys, I think, should be the fronts. They're heavy enough to be. Pads with wear sensors, perfect. Alright, let's see if they match. Same thickness, appear to be the same hat height. Same diameter. I actually got the right parts for once. Okay, so I got the two lower bolts off. Just need to get this guy off. Then I need to take the sway bar link out to get, and then get the sway bar off, so I can drop that, get to the bolt for this arm, so on, so forth. There's steps. There's steps involved in getting this thing pulled apart. It's out of the way enough. That'll do. Chances are, like with most things in life, I'm going to have a better time if I use lubricant. Okay, so I've got the sway bar dropped all the way out, and I've pulled off one of the old bushes. So it's a bit ovaled out. New ones a lot tighter in comparison. They're not the same width, but I think they'll work. I hope they'll work. Well, I did some not pretty work with a hammer, but managed to knock the ball joints out. The arms are loose. It's just a matter of taking the bolts out and dropping the arms, hopefully. Not much room for that one, I tell you. There's the old arms next to the new ones. Bush. Good. the important thing here is to not tighten them up yet. These need to be tightened up once the car is at ride height. If you're to tighten them up now, with the suspension all drooped, when the car gets sat on the ground, you then start loading up the bushes. And then when you go over a bump, you would load up the bushes even more, and you'll tear up these bushes in a matter of a couple of weeks and make these arms completely useless. Alright, so I eventually got all the arms in. Now, before tightening the bolts that hold the arms to the chassis, we need to get it close to ride height. As I mentioned before, we don't want the bushes being under load and twisting themselves to death within a couple of weeks. So we use the jack to raise the hub. We're a long way off. We want to be about there. Alright, about there will do. Let's compress the spring. Now, a bit of Loctite on those bolts and do them up to torque spec of 120 Newton meters. Alright, so the new arms are in. Bolts are tightened to the torque spec they need to be. Discs are fitted. Now I've got to refit the wheel studs, refit caliper bracket, caliper now that they're painted, refit the new brake line to the caliper, insert the new fender liner, which arrived from Poland after, I don't know, I don't even think it's fair to count it in weeks, but they got here eventually. Just need to tidy all this up, clean all the inside with the pressure cleaner, and then move to the rear. Well, that got a little bit fiddly, but I ended up getting the new brake line fitted. Got the caliper on, got the sensor holder fitted. Plug in the brake wear sensor into the clip. Bit of brake clean up the rotors before the pads make contact, and go do the other side. Alright, doing the same thing in the rear as we did in the front. Change the brake discs, swaybar bushes, brake lines, about 4 arms on each side. Hopefully it goes quicker than the front did. Let's go. Rear swaybar bushes. It's a good new one. Dead old one. Yeah, not great. Well, I'm on the other side of the car. There's a reason for that. Since that last clip, I started on a journey of anguish and despair. 6 hours it took to change over the arms on the other side of the car. The German engineers that built this decided it would be a good idea to place bolts in such a location that once the nut was removed, there was no space for the bolt to then slide out of the arm. So to be able to get that out, I had to drop the whole subframe. I'm sure it was very easy for them to build the subframe all together as one piece and then fit it into the car. That doesn't help me, however. So now I've got to do this side. Hopefully it doesn't take another 6 hours. And further to this, the German engineers decided that they needed various fasteners to keep all this bolted together instead of just one type. There are external Torx like this, and triple square like this. None of the sizes are consistent, nothing is straightforward, nothing is easy to access. Here we go again. So here we are again, subframe dropped, just so I can get this bolt out the backside here, and that still needs leaning on with a pry bar to get enough clearance. Well, I've been busy getting cut and filthy. The arms are in, raised this up to right height so I can tighten up all the bolts so the bushes are all unloaded at right height. Well, somewhat more successful. It's closer to about 2.5 hours. My hands are hurting, my back hurts, everything hurts. Might continue with this another day. Pack it up.